The Kithara strike force moved through the abandoned mining facility like shadows given form. Their adaptive camouflage suits bent light around their bodies, making them effectively invisible to most detection methods. Commander Zeph-9 checked his tactical display as his 12-soldier unit advanced through the facility's main corridor. The blue dot representing their target pulsed steadily from the control tower ahead. Earth had fallen to the Galactic Confederation 6 months ago, but pockets of human resistance still caused problems. This particular group had been especially troublesome, using their knowledge of local terrain to strike supply convoys and communication arrays. Today, the Kithara would end their interference permanently. Target confirmed in Control Tower Level 7, reported Scout 3 through their neural link. Single human appears to be monitoring communications equipment. Zeph-9 felt satisfied. Humans were primitive creatures who relied on crude projectile weapons and basic tactics. Their technology was centuries behind Confederation standards. This would be a simple elimination mission. Deploy standard formation. Scouts advance first, the assault team. Contain all exits before engagement, he commanded. The facility had been abandoned for decades before the humans started using it. Rusted metal beams supported a massive structure that once housed mining equipment. Multiple levels connected by maintenance walkways provided excellent cover for the resistance fighters. But superior technology would overcome any tactical advantage the terrain might offer. From her position in the control tower, Elena Vasquez watched 12 heat signatures appear on her thermal scope. The aliens thought their invisibility suits made them undetectable, but they hadn't counted on old-fashioned heat detection. She'd been tracking their approach for the last 20 minutes. Elena had earned her reputation during the war in Kazakhstan, where she'd recorded 847 confirmed eliminations over 3 years. Her record shot was 2,847 meters in mountainous terrain with crosswinds exceeding 30 knots. When the aliens invaded, she'd been training new snipers at Fort Benning. Now she was one of the last professional soldiers still fighting. The resistance had learned that alien invisibility suits had one major weakness. They generated significant heat while maintaining their camouflage effect. Human thermal optics could track them easily once you knew what to look for. The aliens apparently hadn't realized this yet. She adjusted her position behind the makeshift firing port she'd cut in the tower's wall. Her rifle was a modified Barrett M82A1, chambered for .50 caliber armor-piercing rounds. She'd made several modifications over the past months, including a custom suppressor and enhanced optics system salvaged from alien equipment. "Come on up, you alien bastards," she whispered. Settling into her shooting position, the Kithara strike force split into 3 teams as they entered the facility's lower levels. Their suit's sensors showed no immediate threats, but Zeph-9 remained cautious. Humans were unpredictable, and this group had already proven resourceful. "Environmental scan complete," reported Tech 7. "Atmosphere is compatible. No toxic substances detected. Multiple heat sources throughout structure, but they appear to be mechanical systems." Zeph-9 nodded. The humans had been using the facility for months, so residual heat signatures were expected. "Proceed to Level 4. Establish observation positions before final assault." The first team moved up a maintenance stairwell while the second team took service elevators. The third team would remain on ground level to prevent escape. It was a textbook operation that had worked successfully on dozens of worlds. Scout-3 reached Level 4 and activated his enhanced sensors. The equipment detected electromagnetic signatures consistent with human communication devices. Confirmed resistance activity. Multiple power sources active on levels 6 and 7. "Any movement?" Zeph-9 asked. "Negative. Target appears stationary." Elena watched the aliens advance through the facility with professional interest. Their movements showed good tactical discipline, but they were too confident in their technology. They moved in predictable patterns that assumed their invisibility made them safe from observation. She tracked the lead group as they climbed toward Level 4. 3 aliens in the first element, moving in standard formation with 5-meter spacing. The second group was using the elevator, which would bring them up the facility's east side. The third group remained on ground level, covering exits. Her tactical analysis was automatic after years of combat experience. The aliens were competent but unimaginative. They relied heavily on their technological advantages rather than adapting to local conditions. That overconfidence would be their downfall. She selected her first target, the alien leading the stairwell team. He was moving with purpose, probably the unit's point man. Taking him first would disrupt their formation and force them to respond to an unexpected threat. Elena controlled her breathing and settled her crosshairs on the alien's center mass. Even with their advanced suits, they still had biological requirements. They needed to breathe, which meant their suits couldn't be completely sealed. Her thermal scope showed a slightly cooler area around what appeared to be a breathing apparatus. She squeezed the trigger. The .50 caliber round traveled at 2,800 feet per second, crossing the 400-meter distance in less than half a second. It struck Scout 3's center mass, penetrating his adaptive camouflage suit and the armor underneath. The impact threw him backward against the stairwell railing. "Contact! Scout 3 is down!" Tech 7 shouted through the neural link. "Sniper fire from unknown position." Zeph 9 felt his confidence evaporate. The humans weren't supposed to be able to target invisible soldiers. "Report? Where did the shot originate?" "Unknown. Scanner shows no muzzle flash or energy discharge. Scout 3's suit is compromised, camouflage failing." Elena had already shifted position to a secondary firing port on the tower's north side. The aliens would be looking for her location, so staying mobile was essential. She chambered another round and acquired her second target. The elevator team had reached level 4 and taken cover behind some industrial equipment. They were scanning for threats, but their sensors couldn't locate her position. She could see them moving their heads systematically, trying to identify the sniper's nest. "Thermal bloom from Sector 7, one of them reported. "Possible shooter location." Elena smiled grimly. They were looking in the right direction but couldn't pinpoint her exact position. The tower had multiple levels and firing ports, giving her numerous options for engagement. She selected the alien who appeared to be their communications specialist, identifiable by additional equipment mounted on his suit. Eliminating their comms would force them to rely on visual signals, further degrading their coordination. Her second shot took Tech 7 through the head, dropping him instantly. His equipment scattered across the floor, sparking and smoking. "Two down. Sniper is targeting from multiple positions." The remaining scout's voice carried notes of panic. "Request immediate tactical support." Zeph 9 felt the situation deteriorating rapidly. His soldiers were trained for conventional warfare against enemies who fought with similar technology. This human sniper was using primitive weapons with devastating effectiveness. "All teams, converge on Sector 7. Use maximum dispersion. Do not present group targets." Elena watched the aliens reorganize their assault. They were adapting to the threat, which showed professional competence. But they were still thinking in terms of their own tactical doctrine rather than understanding the nature of their opponent. She moved to her third position, a carefully prepared hide on level 6 that overlooked the main approach route. The aliens would have to cross open ground to reach the tower, giving her multiple opportunities for engagement. The facility's design worked in her favor. The mining equipment created natural choke points and channeled movement into predictable paths. She'd spent weeks preparing this position, calculating fields of fire and establishing multiple hides connected by concealed routes. Through her scope, she watched the aliens advance toward her position. They were moving more carefully now, using cover effectively and maintaining better dispersion. But their thermal signatures still blazed like beacons in her optics. She selected her third target, timing her shot for when the alien moved between two pieces of cover. The round caught him in transition, spinning him around before he collapsed behind a concrete barrier. "Contact! Assault 2 is down. Sniper has clear observation of our advance route." Zeph 9 realized they were facing something unexpected. This wasn't a desperate human making a last stand. This was a professional soldier who had prepared her position and understood their capabilities better than they understood hers. Abort direct assault. Will approach from multiple vectors simultaneously. Force the sniper to choose targets. Elena had anticipated this response. The aliens would try to overwhelm her with multiple threats, hoping to reach her position before she could eliminate them all. It was sound tactical thinking, but it assumed she was operating alone. She activated a remote trigger, and explosions erupted throughout the facility's lower levels. The humans hadn't just been using the facility as a base. They'd been turning it into a fortress. Emergency lights flickered on as the aliens' advance routes filled with smoke and debris. She'd placed charges at key structural points, not enough to bring down the building, B. Leading the other resistance fighters in an apparent rescue attempt, their thermal signatures clearly visible to alien sensors. It was the perfect distraction. Deploy defensive formation, Crix Alpha ordered. Prepare to repel rescue attempt. The hunters shifted their attention toward the approaching threat, exactly as Elena had anticipated. Their formation loosened as soldiers moved to cover the tunnel entrances, giving her the opportunity she needed. What happened next took less than 4 seconds, Elena's apparently. Empty hands weren't empty at all. She'd been palming 2 thermite grenades throughout the entire surrender charade, their surfaces treated to match her body temperature and avoid thermal detection. As the aliens repositioned to face the surface threat, she pulled the pins simultaneously. The grenades weren't intended as anti-personnel weapons. They were designed to destroy the tunnel's electrical systems and plunge the entire area into complete darkness. In the sudden blackout, human night vision would be superior to alien sensors designed to work with full-spectrum lighting. As the lights failed, Elena dove behind the concrete pillar where her real weapon waited. Not the modified Barrett she'd surrendered, but a fully automatic shotgun loaded with specialized ammunition designed specifically for close quarters combat against alien armor. The hunters realized they'd been deceived, but their thermal suppression suits suddenly became a liability. In complete darkness, they couldn't distinguish each other from their prisoner, and their enhanced sensors were overwhelmed by the electromagnetic pulse from the thermite charges. Elena's shotgun began firing methodically, each shot aimed at the muzzle flashes from alien weapons. She'd memorized their positions during the surrender sequence, and muscle memory guided her aim in the absolute darkness. Ambush! Prisoner has escaped. All units engage. Crix Alpha shouted, but his soldiers were firing blindly at shadows and echoes. Elena moved constantly, using her knowledge of the tunnel layout to stay ahead of alien fire. Every few seconds she'd emerge from cover, fire 3 or 4 rounds at identified targets, then disappear before return fire could locate her position, the aliens. Advanced technology became useless in the chaotic close-quarters battle. Their weapons were designed for precision engagement at medium ranges, not desperate firefights in absolute darkness. Elena's primitive shotgun was perfect for the environment she'd created. Thermal imaging restored, Tracker 3 reported, acquiring target signatures. But Elena had anticipated this as well. She'd prepared additional surprises throughout the tunnel system. Remote charges detonated in sequence, filling the air with debris and creating multiple heat sources that confused alien sensors. Every explosion generated new thermal signatures that made target identification impossible. Unable to distinguish friendly from hostile contacts, Perimeter 6 reported. Multiple heat sources throughout engagement area. Elena used the confusion to eliminate 3 more hunters who were attempting to establish defensive positions near the tunnel entrances. Her specialized ammunition penetrated their enhanced armor, dropping them before they could coordinate their response. The resistance fighters on the surface weren't actually planning a rescue. They were conducting their own ambush, targeting the alien transport that was approaching the extraction point. Explosions from street level indicated they were successfully engaging the alien support elements. Transport under attack, the pilot reported. Cannot maintain position. Requesting immediate extraction. Crix Alpha found his squad trapped in a kill zone with no support available. The human sniper had turned their own tactics against them, using their expectations and procedures to create an impossible tactical situation. All units fighting withdrawal to secondary extraction point. Use maximum suppression fire. But Elena had prepared for this response as well. The secondary extraction point was already targeted by resistance mortar, creating another kill zone that would prevent alien escape. The hunters were trapped in a carefully prepared tactical maze with no viable exit. One by one, the enhanced alien soldiers fell to Elena's systematic attack. Their advanced equipment couldn't compensate for the tactical disadvantage she'd created through superior preparation and intimate knowledge of local terrain. When the engagement ended, only 3 hunters remained alive, and they were all wounded. Elena allowed them to reach their emergency extraction point, where the pilot could evacuate them. Under covering fire from their ship's weapons, she wanted survivors to report what had happened. The aliens needed to understand that human resistance wasn't weakening. It was adapting. Their technological advantages meant nothing. When humans controlled the time and place of engagement. As the alien transport disappeared into the night sky, Elena checked her equipment and prepared to relocate. The resistance would have to abandon this base now, but they dealt another devastating blow to alien confidence. Marcus emerged from the surface tunnels, his team intact despite their aggressive action against the alien transport. Extraction successful. Alien support elements neutralized. Casualties? Elena asked. None. They never expected us to attack their support assets while they were focused on you. Elena smiled grimly. The aliens were learning that fighting humans required different tactics than they'd used against other species. Humans didn't just resist. They innovated. They turned weaknesses into strengths and used their enemies' expectations against them. The war was far from over. But battles like this one were teaching the galaxy that Earth's defenders were far more dangerous than anyone had anticipated. 6 months after first contact, Commander Zephyr 9 stood on the bridge of the joint Human-Empire vessel, New Horizon, as they approached the Kepler 442 system. The rescue operation they were about to undertake would have been impossible before the humans joined galactic civilization. Admiral Chun. We are receiving distress signals from the planet's surface, reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson, one of the human officers who had been integrated into the joint command structure. Bioform readings suggest approximately 50,000 Zentari civilians in Vorthen holding facilities. Admiral Chun studied the tactical display with the same calm precision that had impressed Zephyr 9 during that first battle. The humans had insisted on joint operations rather than simply providing technology or intelligence. They wanted to personally participate in every liberation effort. Commander Zephyr 9, what do your databases tell us about Zentari psychology? Admiral Chun asked. They are a peaceful aquatic species, highly intelligent but with no combat experience, Zephyr 9 replied, consulting his records. They have been enslaved for approximately 8 years. The Vorthens use them for their advanced mathematical abilities in navigation and engineering calculations, so they will be traumatized, scared, and possibly distrustful of any military force, Admiral Chun concluded. Recommendation? Captain Maria Santos, the human marine commander, stepped forward. Joint teams, sir. Empire personnel to establish that this is an official rescue operation. Human personnel to demonstrate that predator species can be protective rather than threatening. It was a tactical approach that had proven successful in previous operations. The humans had quickly learned that their reputation as newly discovered apex predators could be either terrifying or reassuring to rescued populations. Depending on how they presented themselves, the rescue operation itself had become a demonstration of human tactical efficiency. Rather than the overwhelming force approach traditionally used by Empire military units, the humans employed what they called surgical precision. Small teams that neutralized guard positions without alerting the broader security network, followed by coordinated extraction of civilian populations with minimal trauma to the rescued individuals. Vorthen garrison eliminated, reported Sergeant Rodriguez over the communication system. No casualties among the prisoners. Centauri civilians are secured and ready for medical evaluation. Zephyr 9 watched through the sensor feeds as human medics worked alongside Empire medical personnel to assess the rescued Centauri. What struck him most was not just the efficiency of the operation, but the care with which the humans handled traumatized individuals from an entirely alien species. "Admiral, we have the garrison commander in custody," Captain Santos reported. "He's requesting negotiation." "Negative," Admiral Chun replied immediately. "Standard processing protocols. Full intelligence extraction, then transfer to Empire judicial authorities for war crimes prosecution." This had become the standard approach. The humans had made it clear from the beginning that they did not negotiate with slavers or raiders. Criminal organizations that had operated with impunity for decades now found themselves systematically dismantled by joint human-empire operations. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Jackson said, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Empire High Command." The holographic image of High Admiral Korath materialized on the bridge. The elderly Andromedan's expression was grave as he addressed both commanders. "Admiral Chun, Commander Zephyr 9, the Kronek swarm has launched a major offensive against the Deneb sector. 47 systems are under threat." Admiral Chun immediately shifted to what Zephyr 9 had learned to recognize as her combat planning mode. "What forces are available?" 17 Empire fleets, approximately 6,000 vessels, High Admiral Korath replied. "However, the Kronek have massed over 20,000 ships for this offensive. It is the largest force they have ever assembled. And they chose now because they want to test the new Human-Empire alliance," Admiral Chun said grimly. "They want to see if humans can handle a real challenge. The Empire Council is prepared to authorize withdrawal from the outer systems and consolidate defensive positions around core worlds." High Admiral Korath continued. "Civilian evacuation protocols are already being implemented." Zephyr 9 saw Admiral Chun exchange a look with Captain Santos that he had learned to recognize. It was the expression humans wore when they had decided something that would surprise everyone else. "High Admiral," Admiral Chun said formally, "the United States requests permission to implement Alternative Strategy Protocol 7. "Admiral Chun?" High Admiral Korath said carefully. "Protocol 7 has never been tested on this scale. The risks are acceptable," Admiral Chun finished. "High Admiral, with respect, retreating to defensive positions and allowing the Kronek to claim 47 systems is not an acceptable outcome. Not when we have alternatives." The transmission ended and Admiral Chun turned to address the bridge crew. "All departments prepare for emergency fold space transit to Deneb sector. We have a swarm to stop." As the New Horizon and its escort fleet began the rapid journey to the threatened sector, Zephyr 9 found himself reviewing everything he had learned about human military philosophy over the past months. The humans did not think in terms of acceptable losses or strategic withdrawals when civilian populations were threatened. They thought in terms of problems to be solved and obstacles to be removed. "Admiral," he asked quietly, "what exactly is Protocol 7? "Something we developed based on studying Kronek behavior patterns," she replied, pulling up classified tactical files. "The swarm operates on hive mind principles. They coordinate through pheromone-based communication and hierarchical command structures. But they have never faced an enemy that understands their psychology better than they understand it themselves." The human plan, as it unfolded over the following days, defied conventional military wisdom. Rather than meet the Kronek swarm in traditional fleet engagement, the humans had developed a strategy that targeted the philosophical foundations of hive mind behavior. The Kronek believe in overwhelming force and inevitable victory. Admiral Chun explained to the assembled fleet commanders. They have never encountered a species that could outthink them tactically, while matching them in determination. The battle for the Deneb sector became a case study that would be taught in military academies across the galaxy for generations. The humans used their advanced stealth technology not to hide their ships, but to create false fleet signatures that made small forces appear larger and large forces appear to be in different positions entirely. More importantly, They targeted Kronek queen ships with precision that demonstrated detailed understanding of hive biology. When a queen ship was destroyed, the surrounding drones did not simply continue fighting under different coordination. They became confused, inefficient, and vulnerable to conventional Empire forces. "It's like watching master chess players," High Admiral Korath observed as he monitored the battle from Empire Command. "The humans are not just defeating the Kronek militarily, they are psychologically dismantling them." The turning point came when Admiral Chun personally led a strike force deep into the heart of the Kronek formation, targeting the Supreme Queen ship that coordinated the entire offensive. The mission should have been suicidal, but the humans had studied Kronek defensive patterns so thoroughly that they moved through the swarm's protection like it did not exist. When the Supreme Queen ship was destroyed, something unprecedented happened. For the first time in recorded history, a Kronek swarm retreated. The psychological impact of losing their ultimate coordinator broke something fundamental in their hive mind structure. "Admiral Chun," High Admiral Korath transmitted as the human fleet regrouped, "the Empire Council has asked me to convey their formal gratitude. You have achieved something we thought impossible." "We appreciate that, High Admiral," Admiral Chun replied, "but we are not finished. We have intelligence from captured Vorthan raids in Kronek archives. There are 14 more major predator organizations operating in this galaxy. As long as they continue enslaving and destroying civilizations, there will be more work to do." Zephyr 9 realized in that moment that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. For centuries, predator species had operated with the understanding that prey civilizations could be intimidated, enslaved, or destroyed with impunity. The Galactic Empire had managed to protect some worlds, but had never been able to take offensive action against the root sources of the problem. Now, there was a species that thought differently. Humans did not just defend against predators. They hunted them. "Commander Zephyr 9, Admiral Chun said, turning to him as the fleet began organizing for the next phase of operations. "Your people spent centuries trying to protect prey species from predators. What we are offering is the chance to eliminate the predators entirely. Is that not morally problematic?" Zephyr 9 asked. "Many of these species have their own cultures and civilizations." "Commander," Admiral Chun said seriously, "we are not talking about genocide or cultural destruction. We are talking about ending slavery, stopping raiding operations, and dismantling criminal organizations. Any culture built on the suffering of others needs to change, not be protected." Over the following months, Zephyr 9 watched as